Alright, ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining me for the stream, you will notice that the stream is unfortunately keeps putting under the title of Canada. Just a reminder that this is round 9 in Austria for the Talk of the Devil main league. Seem to be having technical issues or difficulties. Who knows, Gremlin's coming back. So, we're just waiting for the game to load in. Game seems to be taking quite a while to log in, but we should be able to get there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we still have the loading screen also taking a look at the chat at the moment, and it looks like the guys are also having the same issue. So I'm just waiting to see what admin decides and see how we're going forward. So on my screen, it looks like the guys struggling to ready up within the lobby. So you guys know what I do. And I've still got the same guys struggling to load in, so we will see what happens now. Let's see what's going on within the chat. So we've had technical issues every week again with this game. So let's hopefully see if it can be sorted out quickly. Okay, I see a whole bunch of people have been dropping out. So I shall be dropping out of the session as well. Hopefully that way we can get a new lobby. And it looks... So there is a vote going out at the moment to, well, there is a whole bunch of... Callum has confirmed that we're going to restart the lobby. And as soon as someone has left the session, it carries on. So I shall be leaving this session as well. But I can't seem to... It just says migrating host. I'm going to restart it there. Just waiting for some instructions from the admin. So as we're sitting here waiting for the guys to ready up and join the lobby, let's just take a look at some of the teams and the drivers that are in those cars at the moment. We've got the Mercedes-Benz with Stephen and Dean. Dean really pushing the limits of their car over the last couple of races. He's definitely going to be a guy to keep an eye out on. In Ferrari we have Panagliotis and Gary. And as you can see, we're just waiting for Gary to join in on the new lobby. In the Red Bull, we've got Kieran and Caesar. Interesting partnership there, the Mexican with the Brit. Then for the Renault, we have Gareth and we've got what looks to be the new driver. I'm not sure the name of the second driver at the Renault team at the moment. Then we have, let me just go through the list here. Got Devon in the Haas, and we're still waiting for his teammate in the McLaren. We've got Callum in the second driver position, with should be Luke as his teammate, and we can hear the already up tone going through. So we've got one Haas driver not in and one McLaren driver not in. So hopefully Callum can pull out a really good result for the McLaren team today. Hopefully we don't have as many issues. Well, viewers, welcome once again. I do know the stream does say it is Canada. For some reason I'm having technical issues, and it should be under round 9 Austria. This is the main league. Just a reminder that we also have the the elite lobby running at the same time with my co-commentator. We're just waiting for Devon to ready up there, as you can see on the screen, and there we go. It looks as if every driver's gone in and we're successful. So you're joining us for the qualifying of the Austrian GP for Talk of the Devil League. Right, so who will be the first to jump? And it looks to be Lee Williams. Which Williams will it be? Will it be Anthony? And it looks to be Anthony. So Anthony will be the first one to bite in the Williams. It's going to be really interesting to see what type of lap times he comes up with. He did do a surprising really time in a practice that was held a little bit earlier in the week, and came up with a 105 in the in the qualies. It seemed to be one of the guys to watch. What can he do with this Williams tonight? We've also got Luke out on track with the Alpha. We've got Stephen out on track. Caesar, Stephen. We've got Lee. Panagliotis is out on track. Gary Brandon is sitting in the pits. We've got Kyle in the Alpha on track. So let's get back to the guy that went out on track first as he starts his flying lap. We will do a lap with him. It's coming up to corner 1. You see he goes down to 4th gear. Now gearing up all the way up to 8th gear. Hitting that top of the hill there, the hairpin. Got to watch your braking really hard in here as you come in. Clip the apex. Nice and easy on the accelerator. Now DRS is wide open again as you hit the downhill slide into the right hander. It is a tight one as you can get your back end to swing out on that corner. Keeping to the right hand side, curving inwards, just a dab on the brakes, trying to ride the corner. coming over onto the runoff area nice and smoothly through the switch between the left and the right. Now it's the double right-hander. The first one was quite tricky, quite blind as you hit the apex. Then you've got to ride the curb nice and gently. Now it's just flat out, DRS open, and he comes in there with a 106.7. So he sets the bar quite decently high with that Williams. Well done there by Anthony Waddington, as the times now start coming in. We've got Stephen pipping Anthony there in the Merc, which is not surprising, with a 106.75. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, you are joining myself, Tamer Curbed, Ivan Dalport, with the main league Talk the Devil, round 9 in Austria. So as the times come in, as I've been talking to you, we've got Caesar in the Red Bull, who's just put in a time of a 106.23. So the 106s are definitely mark tonight with a lot of the guys. We shall drive on board with Gary Braddon. Ladies and gentlemen, I would have loved to actually give you more on the detail of what is going on in the Championship League tables, as unfortunately I could not log into the website. So let me just take a look, as maybe I can get in there now and give you a update. So Gary Braddon pips in there with a 106.335. So that puts him in third place in the log here in Q1 at the moment. So who else is on a hot lap? Let's take a look down the list. So let's just take a look at the gap here. So it's 0.52 of a second between Caesar and Stephen. Ooh, as we get out, Stephen having a bit of a tail slide there. Nice recovery there by the Merc driver. Just losing the back end of the car there for a second. So there's really nothing between first and second if you have to look at it. So we've got Gary in third. We've got the 2 point vehicles in fourth and fifth respectively. We've got Kieran in the Red Bull, a full half a second slower than Stephen in the Mercedes-Benz. We've got Anthony in seventh, and as I say this, we've got Panigalatis with his sister Ferrari right behind his teammate in fourth. So at the moment we've got Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari, Point Racing, the Red Bull of Kieran, Anthony Waddington Williams in 8th, so he's in top 10 so far with it, Williams. We've got Luke and Kyle in the Alfa Romeos respectively in 9th and 10th, so that rounds up the top 10. So if we look at it, we've got the 2 Toro Rossos in 11th and 12th, with the sister Williams in 13th, Callum in 14th, but I think he's just holding back because one will be losing the 18, the bottom 4, the bottom 3 in this session. So at the moment in that on that bubble, we've got Gareth in the Renault, who's as I say that, we've got Devon, who's now just put Gareth down into 16th. 2 Renaults are right there on the verge of being kicked out in the first sector or quali, and we've got Dino, who will hopefully be setting a time really soon. Let's just keep an eye on what his sector times are. He's definitely on a lap. I don't know if he's on a flyer. So he comes around the second last corner into the last corner. Looking very nice and smooth there, riding the curb beautifully. And he comes in there with a 106.106, putting him in first position so far in Q1. So you've got the two Mercs, you've got the Red Bull, and then the two Ferraris. So that Red Bull of Caesar splitting the two Mercedes and the two Ferraris there. Interesting turn of events. It isn't really up there. You've got the point racing cars being the best of the rest, essentially. With the Mercedes motors going there. So Mercedes motors are really liking the straights. And I mean, if you look at it, traditionally Ferrari having the top end and top straight line speeds, it's very surprising that we've got a in there. Although if you have to look at this year, I mean, it was Max Verstappen that took that win, if you remember that pass on Charles Leclerc, which was quite controversial after just a couple of races after Canada, with Vettel going off, and so it was quite a eventually the stewards just didn't take it. They put it as a racing incident, and nothing was done, so Vettel could keep the win. So we're just looking at who's out on track. Callum has just put himself into 4th place in the McLaren. So that with a lap of, let's just take a look here, with a lap of a 106.281. That's actually not bad with the McLaren. So Callum then pipping the two Ferraris. That is interesting. The Ferraris are sitting at 5th and 6th at the moment. So that's a really good push there by Callum to put himself into 4th place. And as I say this, the first person to get down into the 105 mark would be Steven. Just showing his teammate who's the boss around there at the moment. So that's a brilliant lap there by Steven. As we look at him on his cooldown lap, he has done 6 laps on those specific tires. So is he? Well, he's definitely going to know that he's going to go through. There are 7 minutes, about 7.5 minutes within the first session. So let's see what we can do. I wonder, can you hear me, ladies and gentlemen? I'm just so confused right now. It looks like I'm having frame drops. What is going on here? It is not like this to be happening. So let's just take a look here again. Ladies and gentlemen, I do apologize if you are getting no streaming at all. I think there is more technical issues happening here. Alright, so as you look at it, Gary has just put himself into the 105. Oh, the top 3 into the 105s. So Dean showing his teammate once again that he's here to take the fight for the time that is in this Mercedes-Benz. So you've got Dean, the two brothers, having their little feud there. So you've got Dean sitting in first place. You've got Gary sitting in second place. You've got Steven sitting in third, and Caesar holding on to fourth place there with Callum in fifth. That is a really good turn of events. Is Panagliotis out? Panagliotis is out. He is on his outlap. Let's see if there's anybody else that's coming up to start their laps. So we are now on board with Kieran as he comes up to the first corner one, coming down to fourth gear to third, then short shifting to fourth, fifth, sixth, coming towards the uphill hairpin. You've got to be quite sharp on your brakes. Down into second gear, first gear down to 60 k's an hour, around about 45 miles an hour mark, and cruising down to the next couple of corners, which is a downhill slope. So it's very easy for the car, the front end, to step out on you and get quite a bit of oversteer or understeer as he comes around the next couple of bends. It's got to be really smooth here between the left and the right switch, which looks very neat and tidy, riding that curb nicely. We've got a Ferrari in front of him. Could that be hindering his time? He looks very clean around the blind corner, and he seems to be pulling in. So let's catch the ride on board with Panagliotis. Coming around corner one. Oh, and he loses it, and he's into the barrier. But it looks like he's got minimal damage. We will just take a look at his front wing here. No. Yes, there is some damage. There is a bit of the barge board or the front end of the wing. Oh, and he goes straight on here into the next couple of corners, outbraking himself. He's definitely going to have to take quite easy. I don't think he's going to make it back for another lap. However, he is safe. So at the moment, right at the bottom, we've got Lee in sitting in 15th. We've got a Williams, a Haas of Devon in the 107s, and Lee with a 109.335 sitting in 18th place. So we've got three people that could potentially get knocked out as we're taking a look in the pit lane at the Toro Rosso coming into and we're watching now Panagliotis. He surely would be coming into the pits. Yes. So we've got Anthony Waddington out on track. We will just take a look at his sector 2 time here. He's doing the 131, 132. Could be warming up the tires. He's actually up 2/10 up on his time. So it'll still, he should then just put himself into 9th place, splitting the 2-point racing cars. Let's take a look here as he comes around the final bend. Keeps it nice and tidy. Coming across the line, he does a 106.534. He's up on his time. He definitely put himself into 9th place. Very well driven there. Keeping that Williams in the top 10 places there. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to the stream. If you are currently watching the multi-view screen, you will be seeing that it is a wet race in the elite side of the Talk of the Devil, which is running at the same time. So it looks to be 18 laps. So I don't think it's a full race. and it only has 2 guys in it. I wonder if there's been any retirements. Looks very interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, I will be joined later on with my co-commentator Kenzie Retro as Quali 1 comes to an end. Is there anybody else on track? We have Luke in a Alpha. This is surely going to be his last lap, so let's see if he's up on his time as he comes around the corners. So let's just take a look here. So he is down on his time by 200ths. He comes around the final bend. What does he do for his time? 107.318. So we've got a Williams, a Haas, and the Renault of Lee out in the first quali session. So we're just taking a look down the list here. We've got Gary doing a fine job there, putting the Ferrari in between the 2 McLarens and the 2 Mercedes-Benz. Then the next in line are the 2 Red Bulls of Caesar and Kieran. Panaglatis in 7th. We've got the Point Racing in 8th, the Williams in 9th, and the top 10 there would be the Point Racing. So you can see there that we've got a Williams, a Haas, and a Renault out in the first round of quali. You are joining myself, Tamer Curved, and the Talk of the Devil main league. At this present moment, we've got the Elite League running at the same time. They are in their multiplayer cars, and it is a wet race. So as we load into Q2 here at Talk of the Devil, I see that I've got 6 viewers. I'd just like to welcome you guys to the stream. And we shall see if we can have a awesome session with these guys here. So who's first to blink? We've got a Alfa Romeo going out, and as you can hear, there's no sound. Hopefully that comes back in the next session. So we will just keep an eye out 4 times as they come through. Everybody's going out. So who's out on track in the lead? We've definitely got Kyle, who's going to be setting the pace time here. So if we look at it, we've got Kyle, who was not quite as happy with his transfer, being let go from his previous team and essentially going down to the Alfa Romeo side of F1. But you know, he's done his job. He's kept that car on the track. He's a decent driver, so I'm sure over the next course of the next couple of races, he'll be able to prove himself, and maybe he might just get a call by one of the bigger teams out there. You never know. DRS open on his flying lap, comes around the first corner. Corner 2's not really counted because flat out. But as we come into corner 2, then it's corner 3, which is the top of the hill. Hard braking. comes down into the right-hander. Then it's down to corner 6. Let's get some hard on the brakes. Hits 6. Then he rounds 7 into 8. And 8 is the left-hander. Long left-hander, just keeping it under control. Then it's another long left-hander into turn 9. Keeping it nice on the apex there. As you hit corner 10. Now it's up the hill and then down the hill into the blind hand left hand, the blind right hand of 11, and into the final corner, corner 12. Not to run too wide, and he comes across the line. Pace lap is a 107 on the mediums. Now, ladies and gentlemen, just remember that in this round, it's the tire that you set your fastest lap on that you will have to then start the race on. So, Kyle probably hoping that the 107 will keep him in the top 10, but so far it could be just strategy. We see that Gary Braden has left the session. Hopefully we can send him an invite. Alright, and we see that Gary Braden has joined the session. This is going to be very interesting. So we watch the Alfa Romeo going wide. You are joining us at the Talk of the Devil main league. This is round 9. I do know that the feed is currently saying round 7 Canada. Unfortunately, I am having technical issues. I do apologize that it is coming through under that name. But hopefully we can just keep you guys entertained and see what's going on. So, what can we see that the times have come in? And once again, you can see the 2 Mercedes-Benz at the top. Then Gary in 3rd place. 5. So, session. Well, that'll definitely put him in the top 10. What tires are they running? So we've got the first 2 on the soft. Really good lap there by the 106.4 on the medium. Then we've got soft, medium, soft, and then the rest of them are all on mediums. So this could be really interesting to see. As we watching currently with Pancreatus comes around, Snake Hips has left the session. So let's just see if we can help him join in on the session. So Pancreatus has done 3 laps in that Ferrari on the medium tire. He's done a 108. That's not going to be good enough to keep him up in the shootout. This could be really interesting as I carry on discussing here with you guys. Hopefully you guys can actually hear my voice coming through. One, two, three. So, just taking a look at this Ferrari. Going really slow. So, we'll just quickly run through. Ooh, and we've just had a change of positions there. So, we've got the 2 Mercedes at the top. The Ferrari of Gary. A Alfa in 4th. Bad run there by the Alfa. But it just goes to show you how good Gary's pace is on their medium tire. We've got the Red Bull of Kieran in 5th, Callum 6th, Caesar in 7th. He does look like he is doing another lap on a set of mediums. Got a Toro Rosso in 8th. Anthony in 9th with the Williams. And rounding off the top 10 is a Point Racing. So 105 there by Dean. As we can take a look, there is 6 minutes to end the second session of the main league. I will be joined by my guest commentator, or guest commentator, I say co-commentator, Kenzie Retro, in a couple of minutes, as we can see that it is the penultimate lap of the extreme or the elite drivers. So who else? We've got Devon in the Point Racing. We'll actually stay here with Devon as he goes through to warm up his tires. He is now on the soft tire, and you can see that Ferrari, which is behind him on track, is also on a soft tire. Where would this put Devon? He's going to be pushing that heart out of that car. And the elite guys are nearly done. They're on the final lap of their race. It was the beginning of, the beginning of the race was a wet one, and it seems to have dried out. So as we come across the line, and he puts himself in 4th place there with a 106.5 on that soft tire. So you can now see that Luke is being pushed down to 5th place, and Anthony is now on the bubble there with the Williams. So the bottom 5 at the moment, these are the guys that will be knocked out of Q2 and will not move over to the shootout, which is Q3, is a Point Racing, Kyle in the Alpha, who's coming to complete a lap. Is he starting one? He is starting his flying lap right now. We've got Gareth in the Renault. We've got Panigatis, the Ferrari, who's actually having a horrible second quali. I wonder if he's just waiting for that time to get down. There's a little bit more in the session. And we've also got Lee Newman. We've got Newman in the Toro Rosso. Also going really slowly. I think he's warming up for a lap. So we will get on board here with Kyle quickly. He's now currently in sector 2. Coming around, he is 4/10 up on his time. So he's nearly half a second up. This is going to be quite an interesting one. Half a second should push him in the 106.6 mark. And he does a 106.98, putting him in 5th. So the Ferrari motor is essentially being second best at this track at the moment. Ferrari powered motor cars. So you're looking at Ferrari in 3rd and 5th and 6th. And then a Honda with the Kieran in 7th. The Renault powered McLaren in 8th with Callum, and Caesar in 9th. And rounding up the top is Jorge in the Toro Rosso. I can't believe, there we go. So we'll quickly stay on board here as Panagliata starts his lap. Oh, and he loses it. That's going to cost him time. But he keeps his foot down. He definitely needs to at least try and get himself in the top 10. So he's looking to try and beat a 107.297. I mean, 329. Let me just do that again. So that is a 1329 to beat from the Alpha. And who sets the better time there? It is the Point Racing in third place, pipping Gary there with a 106.346. But we're currently riding on board with Panagliatis. Comes around the penultimate corner. Ooh, very wide on the entry to the last corner. Riding the curb, DRS is open. Comes across there with a 107.97. That puts him in 10th place, right on the bubble. We've got Caesar who's riding really softly. And ladies and gentlemen, I've been joined in the commentary by my fellow no, it doesn't seem to be going in. Hopefully we can get some clarity what's going on here. I'd just like to say to the viewers, I do apologize. We're just trying to see if I can get myself into a party chat with Kenzie Retro. As I am joining the party now. Good evening, Kenzie.
Audio included. Good evening, Ivan.
Good evening. I see that you had a wet race in the elite runnings tonight.
Despite the fact there was only two drivers this evening, it was Adrian Solomon that came out on top. Michael Savage started on pole, and it was pretty much lights to flag, but Michael had a couple of issues that let Adrian take the lead, and he also got the fastest lap as well.
Oh, fantastic. But we still are in Quali 2 at the moment. Would you like to take over lead commentary at this present moment, or have you joined our lobby yet?
Well, I'm actually in the lobby right now as we speak. Joe Newman has just decided to abort his lap, and Jorge is the only driver that can improve on his lap time, and right now it's not happening. He's about 5 seconds off his lap time, his best lap time. But he is coming into the pits now, so it is Jorge Waddington, Caesar Newman, and Gareth Lambourne all out of this part of qualifying. So it'll be the two Mercedes, the two Ferraris, two Alfa Romeos, Kieran in the Red Bull, the two Racing Points, and Callum in the McLaren. That will be going into the top 10 shootout.
If you have to look at it, it's not a bad lap there by Gary Braddon and Devon. The Ferrari and Point Racing, they're on the medium tyres, sitting in 4th and 5th respectively at the moment.
Indeed, and because of that, and because they're into the top 10 shootout, it will be tyres that Gary and Devon start the race on in about 10 to 15 minutes from now.
Once again, viewers, you are watching the main league with myself, Kenzie, with myself, Tamer Curved, and my colleague, Kenzie Retro. This is the Talk of the Devil Round 9 in Austria. It's unfortunately having technical issues, and the stream seems to be coming under a Canadian title. some reason under Canada round 7.
That is very unusual. Right, but nevertheless, Jorge, Waddington, Caesar, Newman, and Gareth all out of qualifying. So here we go, top 10 shootout. We'll see who starts on pole for this race. The last season we did have a Red Bull on pole position, and that was Mike Malis. Big shout out to him. Big shout out to him if he's watching. He started on pole for Red Bull and went on to win the race. Kieran will be hoping he can
all through
repeat that.
This session, all through this evening, the two Mercedes drivers have been nabbing at one another, just pipping one another every 2 tenths every single time. It was definitely something to watch, these two at one another at the top of the list there.
Yeah, it goes to show the sibling rivalry between the two is definitely starting to heat up now since Dean came to Mercedes a few races ago. And actually, Ivan, it is actually round 8, not round 9 this evening.
Round 8.
Yeah, it's round 8 because it'd be round 9 if we did Monaco, which we don't. So round 6 was round 6 was Canada, round 7 was France, which makes this round 8 of the main league championship.
Well, I stand corrected. Thank you very much for making sure that I knew where I was.
Always good to be on the ball. Nevertheless, we've got Luke in the Alfa Romeo, along with Callum and Gary. They are out on flying laps at the moment. John Taylor following suit. Interestingly, only the Mercedes drivers that are not out on track at the moment. Now that's an interesting strategy call from them. Luke comes across the line on 1:07.415, and as I say that is one of the Mercedes coming out onto the track now. Which one is it? It is Stephen, our championship leader.
Gary Barron just put in the best time at the moment with a 1:05.296.
That is a very quick lap time from him. It was like 1 minute. We were into the 1 minute 4s last year for the pole position lap for the first season of the league. Carl Keegan in the Alfa Romeo was second, but Panagiotis bumps him down to third. It's a Ferraris 1 and 2, and Kieran, as I say that, splits the Ferraris 1:05.846. Callum didn't have the best of laps, a 1:11.941. Not sure what could have happened there, but nevertheless, it's right on board with Stephen for his lap. It's a very short circuit. It's the shortest track on the calendar based on lap times. Over 200 miles an hour, breaks down to 90 for turn 1. DRS wide open. This is one of 3 DRS zones on the track. So it's sweeping turn 2. Not really a turn, but it's acknowledged on the track. There's turn 3, the tightest corner on the track. DRS wide open for the 3rd DRS zone. Breaks down to 70 for turn 4. A long left-hander and right-hander. Now we're into the right-handers of 5 and 6. And then 7. Well, that might actually be turn 8, actually. There's turn 9. Ooh, almost losing the back end there. Nevertheless, here he comes, DRS open. Across the line, and he... Oh! Just shy of the 1 minute 5s. 1 minute 4s. Just shy of the 1 minute 4s. 1 minute 5, 165. And Stephen's brother Dean on an outlap, and Callum following suit.
Could he be getting a tow from his teammate as they come around this next couple of bends? I mean, this can put a driver off. Having another car, knowing that he's on a slow lap. Teammate getting out of the way nicely.
And then Dean on his way. Callum will be not too far behind. Here comes Dean. Round turn 1. Takes it slightly slower than Stephen. But he'll definitely be looking to get a good racing line throughout his lap. Round turn 2. The tight right-hander of turn 3. Very smooth. Very smooth on the entry and on the exit for that matter. DRS wide open. Turn 4. And then turns 5 and 6. There's turn 7, there's turn 8. Going around the final corner now. Is he going to beat Stephen's time? He doesn't, but he goes third. 1 minute 5:3:09. Great lap time from Dean.
That's not a bad lap.
And Callum improves up into 5th at 1 minute 6:034. We've got a few drivers out on track now. One of them being Gary. He's only got about a 10th to make up. First sector time looked okay. It'll be interesting to see how the rest of the lap unfolds.
Line corner, coming into the last of the double right-handers. Now it's flat out towards the line. Pushes in 1:05.26.
He improves,
Puts him
but
into second place.
He improves, but he stays second. That's going to make things interesting. He might have time to come in, get another set of softs on, and go for one last lap. That could definitely make things interesting.
I don't know if he's got the time. I think he might just try and push it now.
He's getting himself warmed up, but he's low on fuel though. He's low on fuel. That's concerning. And Gary does come in. Gary does come into the pits. Gary has come into the pits. Is he going to have time to go out for another lap? Kyle Keegan's out on track. He's going to be able to get another lap in.
Very smooth gear changes as you can hear the car moving away from the camera.
He will not have time to do another lap after this, and he's up. He's up by 1/4 of a second. If he can make up a bit more time, he might push Dean down to 4th. He's got to be careful, and he comes across that, and he does! Panagiotis did improve, but oh dear! Panagiotis did improve his lap time, but Kieran said, not today, and shut the door. How's about that? Gary was definitely cutting it fine there. He might not be able to get his lap in. The two Mercedes aren't coming out again. They'll be happy with how they've done. Callum, when he was with Mercedes, was known for his last-minute laps. Will today be any different? Yellow flags in Sector 2. Kieran, Panagiotis, Callum, and Keegan all out on a lap at the moment. And Gary's not going to have enough time. Gary left it too late. He's not going to be able to get a lap in. The only Kieran aborts his lap. Realistically, only Panagiotis can stop Stephen from getting pole position. We're not going to have a repeat of the Red Bulls being on pole. Carl Keegan aborts his lap, 1:16.5. He's able to improve on that position. Panagiotis aborts his lap as well, which leaves Callum the only driver to improve on his lap time. Can he start in the top 10? He was looking good through the final sector. He improves, but he stays 6th. 1:05.817. Stephen Harrison once again on pole position.
Amazing lap there with a 1:05.1. Gary, I don't know, going out there and trying his luck. It was a tough call there by him.
He didn't have enough time.
An extra set of softs.
He didn't have enough time to go out.
It shows you, it all comes down to the point of you got to get it there and then. You might not have that second chance.
Absolutely. So here's the top 10. It is Stephen on pole position, Gary 2nd, Dean 3rd, Kieran 4th, Panagiotis in 5th, Callum 6th, a great performance from him, Keegan 7th, Taylor 8th, Devin 9th, and Luke rounding up the top 10.
So the Ferrari splitting the two Mercedes-Benz. The Red Bull shoving his nose in there above that Ferrari. It's going to be quite an interesting one to see if everybody can get through into the first corner.
Okay, who burnt the toast?
I think it's the smoke alarm going off.
Right, nevertheless, here we go. It is round 8 of the Talk of the Devil League here. We're in Season 2. We're in Austria, the A1, well, the Red Bull Ring. So here we go. Um, despite Austria being one of the smallest countries in the world, it still shares a border with 8 different countries. Now the hills are definitely going to be alive with the sound of Formula One cars shortly, especially with 32% of the country being below 1,640 feet. And it's the shortest track on the calendar based on lap time. 2.86 miles, the circuit, 3 DRS zones, 10 corners, 3 to the left, 7 to the right. Some of the action zones to look out for. It's turn 1, the main season 1 of the Talk of the Devil League. Chaotic start, had a couple of retirements, and Mike went on to win the race. 2016 at turn 3, the tight right-hander was the last time Hamilton led a lap on this circuit. And then 1998, the great battle between Hakkinen and Schumacher for that day. 3 tyre compounds. It is the soft, the C4, the mediums, the C3, and the hards, the C2. And you're looking at roughly 21 to 22 seconds to make a pit stop and still come out on track to maintain position on the track. So here's the starting order then. It is Stephen on pole position once again this season. Gary alongside him, the 2 championship leaders on the front row. And then you've got Dean in 3rd. Kieran, great performance from him in 4th. Panagiotis, not the best qualifying session in the world, but 5th place will do him nicely. Callum, great lap from him. He starts in 6th position. Then you've got Kyle Keegan in the Alfa Romeo 7th. John Taylor 8th. Devon in the Racing Point 9th, and Luke rounding up top 10. And then looking down the rest of the grid, you've got Jorge and Waddington alongside each other. Joe Newman being split from his teammate by Waddington. Gareth Lambourne. And then you've got Michael Booker in the sister Williams, followed by Jimmy in the Haas and Lee in the Renault. And it looks like it's Caesar who's having technical issues at the moment. Hopefully he can get himself back into the lobby. Otherwise he will not be starting this race. So as far as the tyres are concerned, you're looking at 9 to 19 laps on the softs. And 9 to 19 laps. Mediums, 13 to 23 laps. And the hards, 48 to 62 laps. You could potentially get a 1-stop out of this race today. Realistically, a 2-stopper. Now we're just waiting for the drivers to ready up. Let's see if I can get Caesar back into the lobby. It looks like he's managed to get himself back in. Just waiting on Caesar getting back into the lobby. Fingers crossed we can get that to happen.
So, Kenzie, this is probably really bad commentary from our side, but what happened in qualifying today? Unfortunately, I was at work when all of this went down.
Oh, in Russia today, Charles
Yes.
Leclerc, Charles Leclerc, fourth pole position in a row.
Really?
Yep, fourth pole in a row, and Hamilton alongside him on the front row.
Oh, this is going to be an interesting turn one. I mean, it's a long drive down to that first corner.
Absolutely, and a little further down in the feeder races, Formula 2 and Formula 3, Nick de Vries managed to become the 2019 Formula 2 champion. Massive congratulations to him. And Robert Schwartzman in Formula 3 became the Formula 3 champion in the first race of the Formula 3 weekend. The second race will be the season finale for Formula 3. But the Formula 2 still has Abu Dhabi to take care of after they're finished here in Russia.
Well, congratulations to the two drivers respectively. They've done a brilliant job getting to where they are, and hopefully we will be seeing Nick de Vries in a Formula One car next year.
Sadly not, because he is teaming up with Stoffel van Dorn to be his teammate in the Formula E next season.
Well, that is an interesting choice to be going.
But still,
we
look forward to seeing him in action regardless. But here we go, 5 lights, and when they go out, it will be race time in Austria. Great start there from Dean, shoots up into second already. Callum's had a good start as well. Stephen goes slightly wide at turn 1, and that's one of the Ferraris. It's Gary. Nobody would have wanted. It's Baku all over again for Gary. Nobody would have wanted. Jorge has lost a couple of places as we're on the run down to turn forward to Mercedes 1-2 at the moment. Jorge gets past Michael Booker. And we've got, that was Lee in the Renault trying to have a piece of the. That is not the start Gary would have wanted. Callum didn't have a good start either. He's down at the back. He'll be starting to make his way back up the field pretty soon. At the end of lap 1, Dean leads, Stephen second, Kieran third, Keegan fourth, Panagiotis fifth, Luke sixth, Waddington seventh, Devon eighth, Newman ninth, and Jimmy rounding up the top 10. Gary in the pits already. Shock and surprise to absolutely no one. That's going to be a front wing change. And it's on to, what is he going on to? He's going on to a set of hards. Be interesting to see if he can get to the end of the race on those. We've had yellow flags in sector 2, and it's Panagiotis! Can this day get any worse for Ferrari? And it's only lap 2 of the race. Well, that's it. That's his front wing gone. Callum, meanwhile, is making very steady progress up the field.
Stephen getting the fastest lap at the moment with a 109.751 in the Mercedes.
Still early days in the race. DRS is now enabled.
And Lucas DRS on his teammate in the Sister Alpha.
Yeah, Stephen with DRS on his brother. And Dean slightly onto the grass. Panagiotis into the pits now. Jimmy already up into 8th. And oh dear, Joe Newman, something happened to Newman. Oh, he spun it. He spun it going through turn 3. Not what he would have wanted, and something's happened to Luke. Luke's had a spin as well. Seems the Ferrari-powered cars are having a lot of issues right now.
Such a showing by the motors, the Ferrari-powered motors in quali, and this is happening to them in the...
Exactly, definitely not what they would have wanted. But Dean now getting the fastest lap. But again, like I said, still early days. Michael Booker back in. Despite his technical issues, Stevens' ERS all the way down. Up at 100%. And now he's starting to turn it up.
We've got Anthony in the Williams sitting in 4th at the moment.
He has had
Kyle breathing down his neck in the Alfa Romeo. They come into the technical section of the track.
Indeed, yeah. But the interesting thing here, as you say, that Wallington up into 4th, 8 places off the start. Jimmy, the biggest winner of the start, 10 places from his starting position. He started last, and he's now up into the points in 7th already. And oh, Wallington off. Wallington goes wide, and Keegan takes advantage. And that's left Wallington vulnerable to Devon's DRS. Luke getting past Jimmy meanwhile. And Callum managed to get himself back into the points. He's up into 9th now after that poor start.
That's a really good recovery by the reigning world champion.
Yeah, Stevens still keeping within just over half a second of his teammate and brother Stephen. There he goes, DRS wide open. He got such a good drive out of that last corner, but he thinks better of going for a move.
Callum is right on the tail of the Haas. That's going very wide, giving Callum the better line.
Callum took full advantage. He took full advantage of the mistake. And Caesar sadly not able to make it to the start of the race due to his technical issues.
Callum is definitely on a run here. He's now pushing for 7th place.
Yeah, despite the bad start he had, he's managed to keep himself out of trouble. And we've seen over the course
and there's contact between the McLaren and the Alpha.
Yeah, looking Callum making contact. Doesn't look like, but no damage for Callum as of yet. Yellow flags to sectors 2 and 3. That's Kyle Keegan. Kyle Keegan's, oh my word! Oh my word! They almost avoided them. They almost avoided a massive collision there. Well, that would have been a scary incident to deal with if they did end up with a collision.
Just survived that. Oh, and Callum is now right behind the Alpha.
He's making sure he's such a good drive out of turn 1. And is he going to take 6th? Just got to make it stick through there. Oh, he shuts the door! Oh, and John Taylor. First man out. First man out of the race. He was at turn 3. He's the first man out of the race. Not what he would have wanted. But that's our first retirement of the day.
So Callum, within 8 laps, fighting his way up to his current starting position on the grid. That is a brilliant recovery there by the McLaren driver.
I was about to say before we got interrupted that despite not having the 1 lap pace, he does have the race pace that's needed to keep his lap times consistent and keeping himself out of trouble, which he has done so often throughout his career, and that's what's made him the current world champion. Waddington, meanwhile, on an electrifying race, he's now up into 4th, getting past Devon in the process. Jimmy in the pits. I can only imagine it would have been for a front wing change. Here we go. Devon back on with the DRS. Trying to catch Waddington, but that's not for happening. Not at the moment anyway. Got the 2 Alphas meanwhile. Keegan just getting past Luke for 7th. Amazing just how quickly the laps just fly by on this circuit. We're already on to lap 10. It'll be a lap 11 shortly. Why Stephen still can't get close enough to make any sort of move on Dean. Gotten wide with the chicane.
We have Kyle on the push now in 7th in the Alfa Romeo, chasing down Callum.
Yeah, closing on Callum in the process. Stephen managing to get within half a second for a moment. The gap starts to go back up again. It looks like the 2 Mercedes drivers might have different setups.
Kyle takes a look on the inside. Callum shuts the door.
Callum definitely showing that he can be aggressive when he needs to be.
As Devon's within 200ths of a second right behind Anthony. Could he be making the push for the pass down the main straight?
Not close enough at the moment, but he might get a run up to turn 3. Might have a stab at it there. All about having a strong exit. Oh, and Warrington slightly on the grass. Can Devon take advantage? Shoots up the inside, takes 4th place and says thank you very much. Now Warrington might be able to get that place back as he now has DRS. And already, I think, wow, that's a sight I never thought I'd see. A Racing Point and a Williams lapping a Ferrari. That's a sight I never thought I'd see in this league.
Oh, the Ferrari drivers having a horrible. And once again, Panligatis is in the pits.
I wonder what for this time. Is it another front wing change? It might just well be. It is another front wing change. I can only imagine how happy the Mercedes drivers are with all this. That it feels like since Baku, Ferrari's season has just fallen apart completely, and we're not even and we're just approaching the halfway stage of the season. It just feels like it's just all fallen apart for Ferrari right now, and the Mercedes boys must be smiling ear to ear like Cheshire cats at this point, and I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case.
Well, you know, it's just goes to show you it's how much the online racing mimics real life.
Yeah. Yellow flag in sectors 2 and 3, probably for somebody going wide. Closest battle on track, meanwhile, is Carl Keegan trying to have a look at Callum. They almost made contact. Callum's so much faster.
And there's contact between the two of them.
I think Callum might have front wing damage now at this point. Yeah, Callum almost spun it. He managed to keep himself out of trouble, crucially. Certainly making things very interesting now. Gary right on the back of Michael Booker. Tries to go for a look. Tries to force the Williams into a mistake. He's definitely being very aggressive. We'll give him that one. And Gary does get past. Wellington right on the back of Devon. This is a great battle for the for fourth place. Lap 17 now. Dean and Stevens still ahead. Dean crucially keeping Stephen out of DRS range. Wallington still battling with Devon for fourth place. Not quite close enough to make any sort of impact at the moment. That could all change shortly.
Kieran and the Red Bull having a quiet race in third.
And Dean, the first of the front runners into the pits. First of the front runners into the pits. And Stephen following suit. It's Dean that's got the undercut, but oh, hang on, here comes Waddington. Forced Devon into a mistake, and there he goes. Dean gets past Kieran, but is he going to get past Stephen? And Dean does get past, which leaves a great strategy call there from the Mercedes. Dean coming in first and then Stephen following suit. Dean maintains the lead, Stephen maintains second. Kieran in third, he'll need to make a stop soon. Dean getting another fastest lap. Steven is now back within DRS range of...
There's a massive battle going on between the Renault and the Toro Rosso.
Yeah, that's Joe and
Down for 10th
Gareth.
place here. Yeah?
Joe and Gareth for that last points paying position. And it looks like Gary's decided, I want a piece of the action. I want to join in on the action. Three-way scrap for that last points paying position. And oh, Gary almost straight into the wall. He gets a 2-for-1, and he gets into that last points paying position and says, "Thank you very much." That was a very bold move there from Gary. Oh, but yeah, yellow flags in sector 2. That shouldn't be allowed, should it? Joe got past Gary when the yellow flags were waving. That shouldn't be allowed, should it?
Very interesting tactics.
Maybe the yellow flags were brought back in just as the move was being made. Kyle Keegan in the pits now. That's one of the Renaults. I think that was Lee. And oh, Joe Newman's had a spin. Joe Newman has had a spin, and well, that's him out of the battle. Gary now back up into 10th. Man on a mission to try and get back to where he was at the start of the race. Until lap 22, Devon in the pits now, which allows Callum to go into 5th.
Callum and Anthony both have done 21 laps on those medium tyres, along with Kieran. Kieran comfortable 16.5 seconds in front of these two that I'm currently spectating at the moment.
Yeah, Callum is now within DRS range of Waddington. Meanwhile, so much faster. Not quite able to take advantage at the moment. Stephen. He got past Dean, but Dean's trying to get past. He's trying to get back past him. And you can see that Dean is so much faster than Stephen, no doubt because of the setup. Lee with a time penalty, that's probably the first time penalty of the day.
Callum is right on the back of Waddington. Has come downhill. Callum moves over to the right.
Yellow flags in sector 2. Oh, they almost made contact.
That was the Renault spinning there in sector 2.
At 24, a third of the way through the race already. Callum slightly wide on that Felsford corner, but he's got such a good drive out of the last corner. He might go for a lunge here. But he thinks better of it. Dean manages to get past Stephen meanwhile. Again, here, Callum, so much more drive. And he gets past. He's now up into 4th. What a race for Callum so far. Poor start, but now here he is, up into 4th, potentially challenging for a podium position.
He's definitely pulled something out of the bag.
Indeed, but now he's got 13 seconds to make up on Kieran. Even that might be unlikely at this point, but still early stages. We'll be approaching the halfway stage pretty soon. Lee back into the pits. And tries Stephen Might, he can't get past Dean at the moment.
We're going down in 7th place.
That'll be between Devon in the Racing Point and Jorge in the Toro Rosso. Bearing in mind, Devon's tyres are a lot fresher than Jorge's. Everyone from Kieran down to Jorge has done 24 laps on these medium tyres. And oh my word, has that legitimately just happened? Probably just a technical glitch. But here we go. Here comes Stephen. He's gonna try. Are we gonna have a repeat of 2016? No, we're not. No, we are not gonna have a repeat of 2016. Kieran is into the pits, and he's going for a set of softs. Looks like it'll be medium, soft, medium, I would imagine, for Kieran. And that means Callum is now...
He's now in a podium position.
He's now in a podium paying position in a McLaren. And talking of McLaren, they announced over the course of this week that they are going to be partnering with Mercedes as their engine supplier for the 2021 season. Stephen goes wide. Lost a lot of time there. Can he make it back up? He's not going to be able to make the time up on this occasion. But these soft tyres, they don't last long. Especially in hot conditions.
I think it's just a quick stint, yeah?
And oh, that's one of the Renaults lost his front wing. One of the Renaults lost their front wing. It was Lee. Lee lost his front wing. That's unfortunate.
And there's such a battle going on in the as well. Stephen eventually getting past his brother. But his brother comes back on the inside and takes the lead.
This is brilliant between these two Mercedes drivers. And Callum into the pits, 27 laps on those mediums. He's done really well to get to that position. Callum all the way down into ninth after that stop. There's the gaps between those drivers. There isn't much in it. The only major gaps we have are the gap between second and third. There's over 40 seconds. You've got essentially 2 pit stops in hand over Waddington. We're almost at the halfway
Some drivers
stage.
have been swapping places, left, right, and centre in the front.
Yeah, that just goes to show the exciting nature of these two races. Kieran up into third now, getting past Waddington. Waddington's going to need to make a stop soon. I mean, 28 laps on those mediums.
Going for his 29th.
Yeah, he's definitely going to start thinking about making a stop at some point.
There he takes a look at Kyle as he come down for the second DRS zone. DRS is open. You're side by side down as Gary easily takes the position into 6th.
Waddington now coming into the pits now. 30 laps on those mediums. He managed to stretch them slightly further than they were expected. In their predicted lifespan. Will Waddington get ahead of Callum? No, he won't. Dean and Stevens still battling each other, neither of them giving an inch. That gap being very consistent. Where's your Mike Stevens? Still can't get past, and we're almost halfway through the race. And Dean back into the pits. It's just a case of whether Stephen is going to follow suit. He probably will follow suit just to try and minimize the damage. But no, Stephen stays out for another lap. That could prove costly. And Panagiotis now has technical issues. Halfway through the race now.
Battle going on between 7th, 6th and 5th.
And that's Gary, Kyle and Callum. And Stephen does come into the pits. And where is Dean? Dean is just coming around the final corner now. And oh, he spins!
Oh, and he spun it!
Oh, that could be a game changer for the race. The question is Stephen going to maintain the lead? Yes, he will! But the next question is, will he be able to take those mediums through to the end of the race?
Look, Callum breathing down Gary's neck. And we're going down the inside on Gary as they come into the downhill turn. Karen looking very comfortable there.
Gary's been on those hard tyres 34 laps, so it'll be interesting to see if he can go all the way to the end of the race on those.
I think that's pushing the limits, yeah? I think he might just have a set of softs just in the bag.
Well, it gives him an excuse to go for the fastest lap. Lap 39 now. Dean's got the gap to under 5 seconds between him and Stephen. A great performance from Callum so far. Overall, he's made up 2 places off the start, but a poor start. Saw him fight his way back through the field.
Gary taking on the inside as they get to the top of the hill.
Gets through with
Taking that
ease.
position back from Callum.
Gets through with ease, and he's got DRS to help him stretch that gap.
Both drivers making a really good recovery from their first lap incidents. However, Gary's still got to pit on those hard tyres.
Callum keeping within DRS range. There are yellow flags in sector 3. And it's Stephen! Stephen spun it! Stephen lost it! And now Dean's back in the lead! What just happened? Well, that's both Mercedes having an incident.
Penalty for Newman.
Yeah, Joe Newman, yeah. But is it Stephen in the final sector had an incident. Thankfully, no damage. But what's happened now is that he's now 9 seconds behind Dean.
One small slip in concentration and it can cost you a whole race here.
Absolutely.
Gary now going for lap 40 on those hard tires. He's definitely playing the waiting game, seeing how much Callum can actually hurt those tires following behind him.
Very true. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. Callum's still on the back of Gary. I think with how long Callum's been on those softs, he'll probably go for a set of mediums to go to the end of the race. It doesn't come in on this lap. Gary goes slightly wide. Callum won't be able to take advantage. Michael Booker in the pits.
Gary going wide, allowing Callum to come in side by side. And down to the bottom of the hill. Callum going the inside line, taking that position of fourth back, but Gary comes back at him. He's not going to just give up that position.
Yeah, not giving up without a fight. Gary going for it.
Battle between Gary and Callum still on the go. Gary Broden 42 laps on those hard tires. It just shows you the pace that the Ferrari has.
Yeah, it's definitely a sign of these two continuing their rivalry from last season. Callum's got the DRS again. is definitely one of those battles that's not letting up anytime soon. Callum getting close, but again, still can't get through. Now Gary's starting to put some space between him and Callum, who's going to be the first to blink at the pit stops.
Gary coming into the pits now.
Gary's the first to blink. And that's interesting. Soft tyres to the end. Will he manage though? There's 24 laps.
I think he could be going for a double stint on the softs.
Which gives Callum the advantage.
Although if you have to look at it, I mean, Kieran's done 21 laps on those tyres.
The gap's only 18 seconds between Callum and Gary, but Callum stays out. Gonna try for one more lap on these tyres.
Well, considering Gary has come out between the two Mercedes-Benz, clearly faster on those fresher tyres. Is he going to try now unlap himself? Or use him to gain that advantage?
That would be very interesting to see.
Oh, Gary takes a move on the inside.
But that's one of the... Yeah, but he's unlapping himself. You'd argue he's entitled to do so. Callum's still on lead lap, interestingly. Gap's at 16 seconds now. And still Callum stays out.
.108.09, setting the fastest lap of the race so far.
That's definitely going to put him within a shout of getting that bonus point for the fastest lap. But of course, it's not just the point inside the top 10 for the fastest lap of the race. There's also a bonus point for the fastest lap outside the top 10, which, as it stands, is Jorge, the only man to get into the 1-minute 9s.
That's not bad.
And there we go, Callum. Has he left it too late, though? Has he left it too late? Waddington goes past. Keegan goes past. There goes Gary. And that's the Williams. Williams of Michael Booker. Callum's got 7 seconds to make up on Gary. Dean is in the pits. Set of mediums. what Kieran able to maintain.
Gary is almost 3 seconds faster than Anthony at the moment.
And that gap is just closing fast. And oh, that's one of the drivers. That was somebody going wide. It was Williams. It would have been Michael Booker going wide. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Does Gary have technical issues? I don't think he does. Because for a moment there, I saw his car ghost. That's Gary up into fourth now. Gap still staying around the 7-second mark between Gary and Callum. But hang on, looks like the gap might be starting to close. The gap is starting to close now, as I say that. There's not...
Callum's got to push that hard for this last stint.
And I think Gary's going to be trying the same thing with his soft tyres.
But you've got to give it to both of those drivers. I mean, look at the recovery drives they've both had.
Absolutely. Panagiotis a lap down. He's not going to be getting any points today. Gap's starting to go up now. 7.2 seconds between Gary and Callum now. This is interesting. The gap between Stephen and Dean is roughly the same as that of Gary and Callum. But Stephen's softs are roughly half a second quicker roughly half a second a lap quicker once you get them up to temperature. It's definitely going to make things interesting. We're about 15 laps to go. Lap 55. We'll be on lap 56 shortly. But it definitely looks like Dean's going to be going to the end of the race on his tyres. Question is, will Stephen be able to go to the end of the race on his tyres, and will he be able to catch Dean for that race win? Gap down to 6.5 seconds. Gap down to 6.2 seconds. Safe to say business starting to pick up here. The gap between Gary and Callum is starting to go up, not down. Not what Callum would want. Gap down to 5.8. The gap is falling. Dean could be in trouble here before the end of the race. Gap down to 5 seconds. .7 gap is still falling. This could be doable for Stephen. Stephen could actually get past Dean to take the race win. .2. Dean's probably bricking himself at this point, which would not surprise me. Kyle with a time penalty. Gap's down to 4 seconds. We could be in for a grandstand finish here. And the gap's still falling. Was still falling. Scratch that. .9 seconds, 11 to go after this. Let's compare the lap times. Uh, 107, actually 107, 107, 107. Stephen's lap times have been very consistent apart from the last lap, which was a 108. So they're in 107s. Dean, on his mediums, he's about between half a second to a second slower than Stephen.
Well, that would make sense considering Stephen is on the faster tyre, which is about
half
a
a second
second or so.
About half a second quicker. The gap's down to 3.8 seconds. 10 to go after this. And oh, heads up. I think Stephen can see a car in the distance. Stephen can see a car in the distance. Is it his brother? 3.4 seconds now, and still falling. We get a good exit. Oh, yellow flags in sectors 2 and 3. Not sure what that could be for.
Got a nice aerial shot. It'll be good to see if you can see the two Mercedes in the same shot.
That would be great to see. The gap's down to 3.3. There's Dean going past. Stephen's still not quite close enough to be able to see if he can actually see his brother in shot. We're going to keep on board with him for the time being. Gap's down to 3.1. And there he is. Ooh, almost lost it there. He lost a couple of tenths as a result. So that's the problem with turn 3. You've got to find that sweet spot of when to brake, when to turn, and when to get on the throttle again. And oh,
Yeah,
hang on a
it's such
second.
a tricky corner.
Yes, Dean had a small bit of trouble with one of the back markers, Kyle Keegan. Gap's down to 2.7, 8 to go. Stephen's definitely going to actually be doable. Much better through turn 3.
Two Mercedes are in the same shot.
Yeah, but you've got to bear in mind, you've got the Alfa Romeo separating them. The gap's down to 2 seconds. If Stephen can keep catching Dean at the rate he's catching him, we could be in for a grandstand finish here. .7. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Stephen is going to have so much more speed heading down to turn 4 because he's going to have DRS. There it is. And that gap is going to start to tumble. There it is, 1.5 seconds. He can see his brother ahead. It's grandstand finish time. have 7 laps to go after this.
So it is coming towards the final stages of the race. Kinsey, your driver of the day?
It's a tough one to say for my driver of the day. But if I had to choose, I'd probably say either Callum or Gary because of their incredible recovery drives. But
Yeah,
I'm also
well,
tempted to say
it's
Dean. I'm also tempted to say Dean because of how well he's been able to manage the pressure of Stephen behind him. The gap's now down to 1.2 seconds.
it's a toss-up between Callum in the McLaren or Gary in the Ferrari. I mean, both of them first lap incidents, both of them coming back and fighting their way up through the pack with their different strategies to get. Well, I mean, take Gary. I mean, down to last place, he's up in 4th.
Yeah, the viewers can let us know in the chat who their driver of the day is. No flags in sectors 2 and 3. Stephen's still not quite close enough to use DRS. He was closing quickly. He's going to need to come up with something special out of the bag. Oh, there he goes. He's now broken into DRS range. He has now broken into DRS range. Oh boy. Stephen is going to need to work very hard to try and keep Stephen behind him, but that gap is less than half a second.
Now will Dean now move out of the way and think team strategy, knowing that his teammate's on the faster tyre? Or will these two battle it out right until the end?
I think if it were up to me, I say just let them race. Oh, what a grandstand finish. Hang on, Dean made a mistake. Dean went wide on the final corner. Can Stephen take advantage? Oh my goodness, he has! For a split second there, I thought Stephen had taken the lead. But Dean gets it back. As I have often said on many an occasion, with anything that's getting exciting, business just picks up. There is 3 laps to go after this. The gap's still under half a second. And try as he might, Stephen cannot get past. All it's going to take is one mistake from either of them to finish the race. Stephen goes slightly wide. Such a drive out of the final corner. Shuts the DRS. That's an interesting move. Why would he do that? And oh, they almost made contact! Oh my word! Woo-hoo-hoo. Double flight in sector 2, that's Joe Newman! Joe Newman's gone off! There's Michael
On the
Butler,
penultimate lap.
Yeah. Penultimate lap, and Steen still can't get. Steven's gonna go for a lunge on the outside! That might have been his best opportunity. He's gonna go for it down here! Down into turn 4! Change of Hagen and Schumacher! But Dean still keeps position! How is Dean keeping Steven behind him?
Being in the right place at the right time.
Simplest way to put it, we've got 1 lap to go, and that might have been Steven's best opportunity to take the race win. He's got such a good drive. He got such a good drive out of turn 1. He's going to go for it this time. Surely he's going to make it stick. Dean's got the racing line. But oh, Steven's got some front wing damage. And that might have been Steven's last chance. That might have been Steven's last chance to get the race win. But Dean Harrison, his 3rd race for Mercedes, and it's going to be his 3rd win in a row.
It's another shoulder clear moment there.
And wait a minute, what? Almost.
Oh, so close.
Almost drama there. But Dean Harrison wins the Austrian Grand Prix. It's his 3rd race win in a row. Absolutely incredible. Can you believe what we just seen?
So close towards the end. Losing the tail out could have cost Dean that race.
Unbelievable. Kieran comes through to complete the podium. And unless Jimmy can improve on his lap time, he doesn't. And it will be Joe Newman that takes the fastest lap outside the top 10.
What a turn of events there at the end. It really was a close race right to the end.
Absolutely incredible. And I mentioned it last week and I'll say it again. Dean Harrison using the likeness of Alain Prost. Absolutely brilliant. What a climax.
Such a nail-biting end.
Absolutely. So just to recap, Dean, Stephen, Kieran, that's your podium. Gary, great recovery drive into 4th. Callum 5th. Keegan, Waddington, Devon, Luke, and Jorge rounding up the points. And Joe Newman, as I said, gets the fastest lap outside the top 10.
Wow.
That was one of the most exciting climaxes I've ever seen. With us this evening. Yeah, with us this evening, it's our podium. 3rd place, Kieran Middle for Red Bull. 2nd place, Stephen Harrison, our championship leader, and Dean, the race winner.
Wow.
Dean, massive congratulations for you. 3rd race win in a row. There's no stopping your momentum right now.
I reckon Silverstone will stop it, but that was a good race. I think me and Stephen did about 30. Well, I did about 35 laps with wing damage. It kind of screwed up my last stint, but hey ho, I managed Stephen off, so I'm happy.
Which begs the next question: how did you manage to keep Stephen behind you for so long?
I know how he races, unfortunately for him, and give each other room, but it's one of them. Just the tyre wear at the end kind of played a big factor.
Well, leaving it at that, there were a couple of opportunities where Stephen, for a split second, actually managed to get ahead of you, but you somehow managed to keep position on track. Beggars believe how you managed that.
Straight line speed. Stephen was saying the same during the race, but I don't know where it comes from.
Yeah. So you said Silverstone might put a stop to your momentum, but this does mean that you're another step closer in the championship.
I think I was 4th previous to the race, so I'm surely 3rd now. Depending, I know because Kieran, I don't know. It depends on the points. I've not seen them yet. I'll do them.
We'll wait and see what happens. But Dean, thanks very much for your time and congratulations on your win.
Thank you muchly.
Stephen, 3rd race in a row, your brother's beating you. Is this a sign of things to come?
It's not bad, brothers. He's my number 1 target at the minute because we're just as quick, but I don't know. He has that little bit of extra speed down the straights, by looks at it. Like I said that to him, and coming out of a corner, he could just put foot down a lot earlier than me, and it just flies. I couldn't catch him. Tried a couple of times, but I did tell him my softs are going to die off at the end of the race, while his mediums are probably not even halfway, a quarter through the life. So he had plenty of grip, and I was losing mine. But I caught him. It's just a struggle to get past at the end because of I just couldn't do it. And like I said, we both had wing damage, but his reign will come to an end. I did say he was fast. I did say he was going to us at the top 2. It'll be interesting throughout the whole season, to be fair.
So you're not overly concerned about Gary in the championship right now?
Say that again, sorry.
So you're not overly concerned about Gary Braden in the championship right now? You're focusing more on Dean?
To be honest, both of them, because I mean, Gary has a bad start most of the time. And it is most of the time. I don't know if he's getting hit or I don't know. I'll play it safe. I don't care. I'll play it safe. I'll run it wide a little bit, lose a position, not bothered. I can't be doing with being spun. And these back markers, you know, I got stuck behind. I think it was Luke. Again, another back marker getting in my way. I lose two seconds. If I don't lose that 2 seconds, I've got 2 extra seconds on Dean for that last lap. Like, do you know what I mean? I've got an extra lap I can gain. I can pass him. But when you get people that just stay on a racing line, because it's for no reason, it's ridiculous. But it is what it is.
We're waiting to see what happens with Silverstone next week. Stephen, thanks very much for your time and congratulations again on your 2nd place.
Cheers, man.
Again.
Kieran, third place, a great result for you today. It's, I believe that's your first podium of the season, if I'm not mistaken.
It's my second podium. My first podium was at Spain.
Ah, right. So it has been a while since you've been on the podium, but it does mean that you're another step closer to potentially overtaking Gary in the championship.
Yeah, just trying to race it as quick as I can. Like, I won't be up with the Mercs because they're just way too quick for the Red Bull. And yeah, can't really do much with this car.
Yeah. So with that in mind, from your perspective, how do you feel the race went for you? You had an okay qualifying, and you managed to translate that into a strong podium finish.
Yes, the qualifying wasn't too bad. I tried sandbagging for a bit, and I was like, nah, it's not really working. So I just full on went for it, and it worked properly. And then the race, went pretty well. I did have a little bit of concern towards the end of Gary. He raced at the start, it was absolutely crap. But towards the end, he was bringing concerns for me. It was a good race from him. But yeah, my race was mainly worrying about the tyre wear.
So while that was happening, you managed to keep yourself out of trouble. We noticed throughout the entire race.
Yeah, just trying to gain as much time as I could, keep a wave behind me, and trying to help out other teammates.
We'll see what happens with Silverstone next week. So guys, thanks very much for your time, and congratulations once again on your results.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Good luck, guys.
Cheers. Bye.
So there we go, Ivan. That's 8 races down, 12 to go. We're approaching half time in the season now.
It's getting to that point where drivers are going to be having to sit down and reevaluate their seasons, and it should really start getting interesting towards the tail end as a lot of the drivers start thinking about those championship points towards the end, and hopefully grabbing those extra places on the log.
Absolutely, and of course, a couple of weeks from now, we're going to be having the transfer window taking place after round 10, which is Germany, I believe.
It should be, yes.
Yeah, so that'll do it for us tonight, folks. Ivan, as always, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you very much for joining me on the commentary.
It's been a pleasure, as always. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. We've got the Extreme Racing League tomorrow evening, 5 p.m. UK time for that. And then I'll be in action for the Extreme 2 Racing League. Both races you can see live here on Twitch, on the Talk of the Devil Twitch channel, and the Extreme Racing League channel for their respective races. Well then, good night from me, good night from Ivan. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.